You've been doing this since primary school. You've been using music as a way of escapism. And when you get rid of that, your subconscious mind, your ego does not like that, okay? You're addicted to sad music, you're addicted to music in general, like crack cocaine, I can guarantee that. The goal isn't to be delusionally happy. The goal here is to get to genuine happiness. The goal here is to move you up the map of consciousness so that you are no longer influenced negatively by negative music, okay? And that's what I'm trying to help you with here. Hey, what's going on? Dice Brand here, and I want to welcome you to the second part in the video series on music and what music is actually doing to your mind and your self-esteem. So in this video right here, we're going to be talking about how to go about a music cull so that you can improve your overall self-esteem, your mood, get rid of like this general feeling of untargeted discontent, and you probably don't really know why it's there. It just is there. Well, one of the reasons it's there is music, okay? And I'm about to lay this out in this video. If you want to learn why getting rid of negative music is a good idea, I want you to go check out the first video that I did in the series, because in that video I lay it out in a bit more detail, okay? In this video we're going to be talking about how to actually go about the cull. What I'm about to lay out here really helped me with depression, anxiety, and like getting my life back on track after I transitioned out of the military. And I know it'll have the same impact on you if you take this thing seriously, all right? If this is something that you're interested in, I'd really encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also stay tuned for the next video in the series, all right? Now, I do have some notes here with me, okay? Because there's a lot of examples and it's fairly content dense. So if you don't have an attention span, just click off this video now. But if you're serious, then lock in, pay attention, because we're about to go down the rabbit hole together. All right, so from the previous video, we've learnt that negative music generally doesn't have your best interest in mind, okay? And we learnt what it's actually doing to our psyche and how it's actually affecting us on a deep emotional level. And you got to ask these questions, all right? So here we go. One of the questions you got to ask is, are you serious about improving your emotional set point, improving your general happiness, or are you happy to just go do what everybody else is doing and stay in mediocrity, okay? That is a hard question to answer, because once you take the red pill, there's no going back, okay? Remember what happened to Cypher in the Matrix, you know? You think, can I go back to like what everybody else is doing? And you can't, because you know too much information. So before I ruin music for you, ask yourself that question, because if you're not ready, it's time to click off this video. But if you are ready and you realize that this shit's actually going to be very mentally tough, very emotionally tough, but if you see it through and you're going to have more happiness overall than you've ever experienced before, because you've actually got that confidence now to be able to filter out the things that are no longer serving you anymore. So I want to give you some of that information. So what do you think is necessary? What do you think is necessary in the context of this video? A music cull is necessary. So you're probably already asking, what is a music cull? Okay, a music cull is so that you can actually cull out a lot of negative, sad, manipulative, or just generally low vibration music out of your life, so that you basically induce some sort of music therapy on you to lift your mood, to lift your spirit, and just to be a generally happier person. You know, you only get so many happiness points and happiness moments throughout your life. How much time do you want to spend feeling sad? You know, actually pencil it in your diary. When you've actually try and do that. Actually try and pencil that into your diary, and you'll realize how retarded that thought is, okay? So that might open a doorway in your mind. You're like, okay, I need to start, you know, tapping my subconscious in the right direction. And that's what we're going to get into this video. Another question is, how do we go about this negative music cull without getting withdrawals and making the anxiety worse? So I thought when I first did this information wasn't available for me 2-3 years ago. When you first come off music, you're actually getting rid of a coping strategy. So how do we actually go about this without making the situation worse? By now you've realized that you have to cull out shitty negative music and actually question and filter the new music that you're allowing into your life, okay? You've got a little bit more of a wall up now. You've got a little bit more of like a bullshit radar, whatever you want to call it, for this crap that's coming into your life. If you want to get ahead, you're going to have to look at getting rid of like any toxic habits that you've got. so that you can open up time and space for good things to happen. You might be thinking like the simple solution is to just cull out all music, okay, and just replace it with audiobooks. Now, later, I will suggest to do that, but at this particular stage, I'm sorry, but that's probably not a good idea, okay? Because you won't actually stick to it because you're getting rid of a coping strategy, a system that you've used for as long as you can fucking remember, okay, as we talked about in the first video. And what this will do, it'll actually make your situation worse. It'll increase your depression, your anxiety, because you haven't got a coping strategy, and you'll just feel discouraged, and then you'll feel even worse when you actually start going back to listening to that type of music, okay? So don't cull out music entirely just yet, okay? This has to be done in stages, okay? It has to be done in stages the same way like quitting alcohol, quitting cigarettes, quitting the triple X, okay? I can't say the P word on YouTube, but you know what I mean. Those sort of things. So as a minimum, you want to cull out all the negative music and leave just the positive stuff, okay? Then later, at a later stage, you can choose to go full potato like I did and go for a period of time where you quit music entirely and just replace it with silence and audiobooks, okay? And this is going to like spark personal growth. So we'll talk more about this in the next video, but for now we're just going to focus on how to go about a music cull. So I'm going to give you a bit more guidance on how to go about this with the least amount of emotional pain, so that you're sort of doing it progressively. This is not for the faint-hearted. This is not for the faint-hearted. This thing can actually be quite painful. Because yeah, you're getting rid of that coping strategy as I'm talking about. You've been doing this since primary school. You've been using music as a way of escapism, and when you get rid of that, your subconscious mind, your ego, does not like that. Okay, you're addicted to sad music. You're addicted to music in general, like crack cocaine. I can guarantee that. So 1 or 2 songs is probably not that big a deal. Okay, but when it starts to become like a majority of your playlist, that has a big influence on your psyche, has a big influence on your general mood and happiness. Okay, it becomes a bit of a parasite on the mind. All right, so the next point I want to put across is I don't have Spotify or any other music streaming service. Hopefully in this video you'll be able to like adjust course and get the gist of what I'm trying to explain to you and make it more applicable to you. Radio. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. It goes without saying that radio is an extremely bad idea, okay? Because you're putting music choices and opinions of other people that are not doing very well. The average person that's running a radio station isn't making a lot of money, isn't fucking very successful, okay? You're putting those music choices and that influence and what you want to hear and listen to in somebody else's hand. How stupid is that? Like, it just blows my brain. Don't listen to the radio, especially not Triple J. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, your mind is like a sponge. It's too easily absorbing information from outside influences, outside your conscious control. You don't need that shit. Get that shit out of your mind. Especially if you're in this space of like self-development and you're trying to step up, you're trying to better yourself, you need to be very, very careful of what foods you put in your body, what influences you put in your mind, and how you treat yourself and how you talk to yourself. Very, very important. I know you probably already got a question. It's like, well, in the work that I have to listen to the radio. And it's like, well, okay, fair enough. But look to either A, get out of your job, B, try and bring your own influences to work, or C, maybe even find enough people that are within your unit, in your workplace, that want to go down this path together and sort of segregate where you're working so you don't have to put up with a lot of mainstream media and all that bullshit. So yeah, there are a few categories that you need to consider when sorting through your music, okay? Your cull is deeply personal to you. So, but you're going to notice there's going to be some commonalities between the music that you're listening to, and it's entirely up to you what you want to do with it. But I would encourage you to eliminate as many negative, sad, manipulative songs as possible. We're about to get into how to like segregate it, how to understand the decision-making process on what actually you need to do in order to make this thing happen. Another thing is I would also encourage you to do this cull when you're in a good mood, when you're in your higher self, because it's going to have a big influence on what you actually are going to do with the music. You just want to be in like a generally like motivated mood. You're like, yep, we're doing this. We're getting rid of this stuff. I'm ready to step up. Because if you do it when you're in like a mediocre or a low level, it's probably your decision-making ability is going to be skewed based on your mood. All right. Okay, so just give me 1 second, I need a drink of water. So here we go. The first category is the delete category. So this is music that is not necessarily negative, but you don't get any enjoyment out of it anymore. This is the type of music that, you know, it's been sitting on your playlist. You generally hit the skip button every time. This is the type of music that's very, very easy for you to get rid of. So it's just delete it, just get it out of there, okay? This is like the easiest one to let go and understand, you know? So this is sort of that mindless sort of music you don't really need. It's not really helping you, and you just like, boop, delete, no hard feelings. And then another category is this music that would be negative, but you would be okay never to listen to it again, okay? This is also in the delete category. So this is another one that's very easy to get rid of. The next category is the maybe again category. This is the category of music that you would most likely listen to now and again when your psyche is strong and your general happiness is up a lot higher, okay? More on this later. And then the last category, this is a good category, this is the music that you can actually keep. Fuck yeah. All right, so let me give you some guidance on the categories and genres of music and some of the personal examples to be able to go through this process. So if you've got some serious balls, maybe you'll even consider just deleting entire albums on artists that you know that generally don't that generally don't really do positive music. Okay, if you've got those sort of balls, by all means you can do that. All right. So the next thing we need to talk about is we need to clarify what a negative song actually is. Okay, this can be kind of hard to understand, hence this video, as also because of like music lyrics are very indirect, especially if you don't understand like metaphors and similes. It's very in the lyrics, it's quite hard to sort of decipher what the artist means. The easier way to do this is ask these questions. Okay, how does this song make me feel, really? How does this song make me feel, really? Another question is, do I want to smile and be happy, or do I want to soothe and cope and be more intense? Okay, these are these questions you ask. So if the song triggers negative coping emotion inside of you or brings back shitty memories, that's time for that song to go. It's time to cull that out of your life, all right? Okay, so before we begin, it might sound like I'm hating on these artists, okay? But up until my music cull, and even beyond my music cull, I still like these artists. But I know that I've had to prioritize that my happiness is more important than listening to negative, shitty music. You have to put your overall happiness before listening to crappy shit. So you need to realize that these songs have got to go. So I want to draw your attention to songs or artists that do any of the following. Okay, I've got some of this stuff listed out here. So anything that encourages or glorifies or promotes depressive thoughts, keeping sanity, anything to do with suicide, or points the blame on someone else or the government. So you're like, oh no, there goes most of Disturbed, Falling in Reverse, Papa Roach. What's another one? What's that fucking artist called? Anyway, you know where I'm going with this. Another thing that I wanted to point out is like heaps of the people that I used to work with in the military, they used to listen to Disturbed and a lot of these negative artists, and they were very disturbing people, okay? None of which that are actually successful long-term to this day. You know, after they left the military, they kind of just spiraled out of control, and they haven't really gone very far with their life. If you don't want to be in that category, start thinking about getting rid of some of this music. The next category is anything that encourages, glorifies, or promotes violence or labels someone else as the enemy. So there goes one of my old favorite songs, Limp Bizkit, Break Stuff, and Disturbed yet again. All right, so the next category is anything that encourages or glorifies or promotes some sort of helplessness, hopelessness, victim mentality, struggle, or low self-esteem. Things that are like, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, the world's out to get me, or any sort of, oh, it's someone else's fault, any sort of like, no one cares for me sort of stuff. That shit's got to go. So there goes most of Linkin Park. There, and then another point I want to put across here, Think about this. Let this blow your brain a little bit. What happened to Chester Babington? What's his name? Chester Bennington. What happened to Avicii? What happened to artists like Chris Cornell? Okay, gone. Are they really good role models that you want to follow? It affected them on such a deep level that they actually they actually took their own lives. You don't need these influences. More things I want to talk about is like, there goes Mudvayne, Most of Papa Roach, Most of Breaking Benjamin, Bring Me the Horizon, Lots of Rise Against, songs like Drowning Pool, Killing Me, Korn, Did My Time, Bone Thugs and Harmony, I Tried, John Legend, Dance the Pain Away, 3 Days Grace, Away from the Sun. Are you starting to get the idea? If you're starting to get the idea, leave a comment below on some of the songs that you're going to get rid of as you go through this, CULL. I'll be curious to hear what comes to mind. The point I'm getting at is these artists are not good role models, okay? It's infecting your psyche. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. So the next category is anything that sings about negative, obsessive, compulsive behavior, or general untargeted discontent, or general negative shit. So things like not having enough money. Okay, so there goes Thrice Black Honey is a good example, and any songs that sort of like hold you in place. Another thing to think about is if eventually you're successful and you make a lot of money, does it make any sense for you to be talking and thinking about songs about the hood and not having any money? There's a conflicting value system there. And the next category is any songs that encourage drug abuse, heavy drinking, or anything that's got like a negative vibe to it. So The Hills, The Weekend. Okay, so what's it? Well, how does he go? It's like, when I'm fucked up, that's a real me. Yeah, no, you don't need that shit. Get that shit out of your mind. Another one is any song that encourages or glorifies, soothes sexual trauma or general abuse. Sometimes these songs can be harder to pinpoint as they have like a generally uplifting vibe, okay? A good example of this, Post Malone, Sir. Okay, so here's another one, okay? If you're in the game, you're in Success with Women, another big category that promotes one-itis, okay? That is songs that portray that there is only one true love, or only one person that's like for you. Like anything that's like getting your ex back or getting back at your ex. That songs that generally make you more of like a pussy or a putz, instead of actually sending you to a place where you're more confident about yourself and being more icy. Obviously there's thousands of people out there that within a range that you're going to be able to get along with, but I'm not a pickup instructor, although I am part of the pickup community. You don't need those influences, okay? But that's another video. So some examples would be like James Arthur, Say You Won't Let Me Go, John Newman, Love Me Again, Michael Bublé, Haven't Met You Yet, and then most of the songs by The Script, okay? And a pretty decent amount of country. Oh my God, country is so fucking pathetic. Yeah, you heard it here. Get rid of country. Like, one of my old friends used to listen to a lot of country, and I'm like, oh my God, country music is very, very mediocre and very, very pathetic. So yeah, cut that shit out. Another big category is anything that glorifies, soothes heartbreak or breakups, or to get revenge on your ex. So NF, I Fall Apart, Ellie Goulding, Calvin Harris, Outside, Without You by Usher, a ton of Yellow Card, a ton of You, Me at 6. You're starting to get the idea? I hope you're starting to get the idea. The next category is a bit of an odd one, and most dudes aren't actually going to be listening to this because, you know, you're going to get paid. If you're especially in the military, you're going to be getting paid out if you're listening to this one. But this is songs that generally shame men or portray women as superior or unobtainable, okay? So an example of this song is Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus, called Don't Call Me Angel. This is absolutely poison. This is absolutely poison for your mind, especially if you're working on your pickup skills and you're working to better yourself and your success with women, okay? Get that shit out of your playlist. So what you're doing is you're basically picking a song or artist, you're looking at the general vibe, the general underlying message of the song and the intention of the song as a whole, and then choosing to put that song in a folder or a category and separating them, okay? or deleting them entirely, all right? Oh, you feeling it? I'm getting pumped up. All right. So I can tell you've already got some questions, okay? Before I get into the question section, maybe even type your question in the comment section below now. All right, I'm waiting. Bam. So what songs can stay? What songs can stay, guys? So this sounds a bit corny, but songs about love, songs about chilling, songs about partying, songs about friendship, winning, higher vibration songs, generally positive songs, you know? Songs that put your mind in the actual direction that you want to go in, and it puts you in a place that you're like, okay, I'm feeling good about doing this task. Let's keep going. Okay. Now I know what you're thinking, but Dice, you're making me get rid of a good 2/3 of my music, and I know that was me as well. I just like, holy fuck, 2/3 of my music is negative shit. All right. Literally all the songs you're telling me to get rid of, literally all the songs that you're telling me to get rid of, it's like it's frying my brain, you know, like I can't even say it in the camera properly. I feel for you. So what do I listen to now? Well, I know this task is quite daunting and scary, but you need to realize that you're letting go of a coping strategy and identity that you've subconsciously taken on for maybe a long time in your life, you know. You sort of pick this up over the course of your life. In my situation, I've had music on my computer that's been negative, just been bouncing around in my head for over 10 years. You know, you might be in the same position. Hopefully you can resonate. But what I'm trying to say is you by cutting the fat and actually removing these negative influences from your life, you'll start to see an overall increase in your mood, your happiness, your anxiety starting to go away. A lot of like depressive thoughts, maybe even some suicidal thoughts might even start getting out of your brain because they're not being lulled and pushed into your brain through secondhand experience through the music. Okay, you need to, and another thing you got to look at is like, are most people around you walking around with a sense of gratitude and happiness? They're not. This is one of the major reasons, because the influences that they're putting into their mind. If you're like a depressed little shit like I used to be, okay, you need to start looking for more alternative music. You need to start listening to music that actually sends you into a better mood. So start listening to some EDM, start listening to some tropical house, and better yet, maybe even start considering listening to music that doesn't actually have any lyrics in it at all. Start to consider listening to music that promotes a better mood. It's music that talks about beating the system. Music that's like beats like social conditioning, and then like music that talks about like winning against the struggle. So, you know, not everyone's going to resonate with this, but one of my good examples would be Jason Derulo's Undefeated. Okay, it really gets me fucking pumped up and gets my mind into the zone that I want to be. Sometimes I listen to it before I start doing videos, just because I'm like, you know, I'm going to put myself in a better headspace so I can really bring the energy to the video. So yeah, I hope you're getting something out of this video. So here are some things that you might run into. You may come across some artists that most of the music has like a very dense or negative vibe, okay? So you might consider just like either put that into a category or like just getting rid of the entire album, okay? And some thoughts might come up as you're actually going through this process. So some of the things that come up with me are actually noted down here. Why am I doing this? I feel dumb for having to do this. Other people can listen to music and they're just fine, okay? But another thing is but I feel better when I listen to this music. I don't want to be one of those delusionally happy guys that are fucking like that are delusionally happy, but they're not, like from the outside looking in, they look happy, but they're really not happy at a core level. What this actually is, okay, here it is your subconscious and the ego is fighting your conscious mind, okay? It's actually fighting to keep you in the lowest state of mind, okay? Your ego doesn't like to change. Your ego wants to stay the same. Your ego is saying this, is like, why are you taking away a guilty pleasure and a coping strategy? That's what it's doing. It's all in there. So the goal isn't to be delusionally happy. The goal here is to get to genuine happiness. The goal here is to move you up the map of consciousness so that you are no longer influenced negatively by negative music, okay? And that's what I'm trying to help you with here. Another thought is that you may feel punished or shame when you have to listen to a negative song at work, okay? So it may be impossible for you to stop listening to work at your unit or at your workplace because it's just like the hierarchy has that control. So do your best not to do your best not to engage in that music, and maybe even try to bring your own music if you're allowed to. And realize that you're no longer listening to as much of this negative music, okay? So at the very least, you're not listening to it in your own time when you're at home in the lines or like wherever the fuck you live. So you need to realize that you're evolving. You realize that you're starting to win at this thing. It'll take some time for you to actually start to see the results of this. And trust me, you will see results if you stick with it. So you're going to go through, and I guarantee you're going to go through a withdrawal period. Okay, this is a good thing. Your ego is trying to hold on to your old self-image, and like your old self is being destroyed, and it's hard for you to actually start to move away from that, but you can do it. I believe in you. Do you want to continue to be soothed and cope, or do you actually want to step up? You got to make that choice, and you got to stick with it. Consistency is key. I once had a relapse when I actually went through and I got rid of a whole lot of music on my computer, but I hadn't actually transferred that to the USB in my car. And I got to the stage where I see the come on the radio, not the radio, on my music player again. I was like, oh, here it is again. I'm being soothed. I'm being coped. But no, I stuck in there. I ripped that USB. I chucked it out the window, and I had silence until I had an USB in it. You have to your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. So yeah, this CULL won't be perfect. However, aim to remove the vast majority of shitty songs. Over time, your brain's subconscious is going to rewire itself, and you won't actually resonate with negative music anymore because you'll start to move up that map of consciousness. You'll have a stronger filter for what music and influences that you start to bring into your life. Okay, I hope that for you. So moving forward, it makes a lot of sense to be more conscious of the music that you listen to, especially if you're suffering from like depressive, like you have a tendency for depression or an anxiety, and your mind is really weak. Your mind is at a lower level and is unable to filter through the lyrics and the general message behind the song and its general vibration. At a later stage, when your mind is more strong, okay, you may consider to re-add and start listening to some of those negative songs again at on an irregular basis, like from that maybe again folder that I was talking about. But there is a rule for this, okay? You must appreciate the artist purely for the artist and the talent and the sound, and not be affected by the lyrics and be actually uplifted by the negative music. Very hard to do. That is, you acknowledge and you have the mental horsepower to enjoy the music for its beat, and not allowing it to affect your mood or your psyche. By this stage, you should actually be able to be at a stage in your mind where you're like, you feel that the lyrics are kind of stupid, and how ridiculous they are. But another thing that actually is what's happened to me now that I've quit it for so long is, you may have seen such good results from getting that toxic shit out of your life that you no longer resonate with it anymore, and you just simply have a moment to pause and you hit the delete button and you're like, that part of me is over. If that part of me is over, I'm done with it and I'm moving forward now. And it's a really, really good moment where you can center yourself on that and you're like, wow, I'm moving up, I'm stepping up. Start flooding your mind with shit that's actually going to help you. It's actually going to move your subconscious mind, your psyche, in the general direction that you want to go in, okay? I hope you got something out of this video. If you did get something out of this video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps out. This shit really changed my life. If you're a young man between the ages of 18 and 35, and you're struggling to find your purpose, you've got a lot of mental clarity, a lot of mental fog, I should say. You're struggling to work out what's the direction moving forward, what's your meaning. Maybe you're transitioning out of the military and you're struggling to work out what's your purpose now, what to put on your resume. I could really help you with that. So send me a message on Instagram. We can get on a one-on-one discovery call and see if you're a good fit for my coaching and mentorship program. When you're in the army, The Army sets up clear boundaries on what to do, what not to do, and you're kind of pushed through fear-based motivation to be at some place at some time. And when you first leave the military, you don't really have that structure anymore. You know, they gave you a code to live by, and now that you're leaving the military or you've left the military, you're not sure what that code is. So it's up to you to work out what that code is, and I really want to be able to help you with that. So yeah, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, then send me a message on Instagram and we can talk further there. I really enjoy doing these videos. I really enjoy helping you. And if you got something out of this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned. We've got a third video on the way. So yeah, dice out.